Hello, Devar. How are you?
Oh, hello, Madhog. I'm fine. How about you, Madhog? Hello, Y-boy. How are you, Y-boy?
I'm doing good, Devar. How are you, Madhog?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Y-boy?
I'm doing good.
And how are you, Goocy? Ah, yeah. Goocy's fine.
Goosy's always fine.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Hello there, folks. Welcome back to the Team Yume podcast for all of your intellectually stimulating needs. Please,
For
come
better
in.
and for worse.
Dance, mingle, meet Christopher Walken. Hello.
Again, like I said, for better and for worse.
Yes, well, yeah, meeting Christopher Walken can be a polarizing experience, I realize.
Meeting myself is a polarizing experience.
Heck, everybody's polarized, am I right, Goocy? Yeah.
I've already told you, he's always fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so since the last time in which we accidentally, well, I should say I accidentally created Goocy, I went out of my way to create a proper backstory for him.
Very nice. Very nice.
Wait. So you're gonna use Goocy as a Dungeons and Dragons character?
I like to think of him as the official mascot for the Team Yume podcast.
Sorry, Shannon, you've been replaced.
Oh, she was never the mascot, she was the final boss.
Oh, it's a plot twist.
Yes, it's like Chaos in Final Fantasy I, which has not aged well, so it's like something better, something. I can't think of something.
That's a good reference there.
I don't know. Goocy, any suggestion? It doesn't have any suggestions. Okay. Right, so backstory time for Goocy. He is Goofy's more sleek and suave cousin. He's a city boy. He is bisexual and he's into cross-dressing. During the day, he is the CEO of a men's lingerie company, but during the night, he is known as Goosey Bella, the drag queen.
I thought you were going to introduce Goocy as a superhero, like, at that point.
No, he's a far more regular guy who happens to be into cross-dressing and all of that. He's cool like that, you know?
Yeah, I see.
I was just sort of imagining Goosey as a goose. Like just a mascot goose character.
So in other words, he's a goose that dresses up as a anthropomorphic dog on weekends?
I guess.
No, he's just Goofy's more cool cousin that he's a bit ashamed of knowing because Goofy is a bit of a conservative.
Goofy's conservative.
Well,
I think he has the brain intelligence to be.
Well, if you go back to the classic Goofy cartoons in between 1945 and the 1950s, directed by the one and only, the immortal Jack Kinney, he was used pretty much as a satire for the idiosyncrasies and the obsessions of the modern American man and modern society at large.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've been watching a lot of classic old Goofy cartoons as of late, and I would like to talk about them.
Oh, lovely.
Yes,
Okay.
this is easily a topic that everybody in this podcast is familiar with, because we're all cartoon nerds of the massive variety, I might add.
Yeah, I remember watching all those Goofy cartoons when I was younger.
Which one is your favorite in this particular section of cartoons directed by Jack Kinney? Which is mostly known for making some of those how-tos and sports-related Goofy cartoons, and also those ones that are pretty much social and political satires, such as Motor Mania. To give an
that
example.
was the one I remember watching and seeing the most, actually. I don't know why. That stuck out in my mind.
I'll tell you why. To this very day, I am assured that Motor Mania is still one of the best satires about toxic masculinity that I have ever seen. Fight Club has got nothing on this one.
Fighters Megamix, that's it.
Car, the motor car, representing both an enabler for man's ego and also being an extension of that same ego. Motor Mania, for that reason, is a very effective commentary about toxic masculinity. You should go back and watch that damn dog! I want to kill it!
Oh, gosh, that's strangely hilarious. I want you to go and kill the damn dog!
That dog has been a bane of my existence ever since I started working with you, boy of many wonders.
Yeah, and the dog ran off.
Stupid dog! Speaking of dogs, so do you guys remember that scene in Motor Mania in which tranquil, everyday man Mr. Walker
Yes.
gets into his car, he wouldn't hurt a fly, and then he has a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde transformation. The car enables him, and he becomes Mr. Wheeler, motorist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like an alter ego that suddenly comes out of him.
Precisely. What's really nice about the details of the character animation is that he seems to slowly transform into his alter ego in tune with the engine starting up. It's a nice little detail that really drives the point home.
Yeah. I have to admit, I don't remember much about it because it's been like even more longer than since I played Resident Evil 4. We're talking like 20 plus years now.
I like to think it's the kind of timeless cartoon that stays in your mind no matter how much time passes. The fact that you clearly remember it, that proves it.
Why do you think I brought it up to you, saying like, oh, I remember that one. Was that any good?
It was really, really good.
It
Among all the cartoons directed by Mr. Kinney, I think this one has the best character animation, just the facial expressions, the motions of the body, or the way he just angrily reacts at other motorists. Speaking of which, here's a funny little Easter egg that I don't think many have noticed. I myself have only noticed it recently. There is this moment in which Mr. Wheeler, motorist, just got in his car for the first time. He yells to his neighbor, "Watch where you're going, stupid!" And then he immediately crashes to another car because he was not watching where he was going. And they have a confrontation in which they just snarl at each other. But if you freeze the frame just at the right moment, you can clearly see Mr. Wheeler flipping the bird. Seriously, go back there and notice this. It's there. This is going to be the picture for the YouTube version of this podcast, so that people can see it for themselves. It's a thing that happens. Oh, Disney, you are so naughty, and I love you for that.
Yeah, you're so sneaky.
Sneaky devils.
I must admit, the animation that, despite the subject matter that could be seen negatively, the animation really exaggerates that negative.
With that said, many of those animations back in the day had so many shortcuts, mostly when it concerns the audio department. We would have the same noises or voice clips repeated several times. Sometimes even in the course of one episode. For example, there is the Tiger Trouble episode. Goofy and his Dolores elephant, they are hunting down the mighty Bengal tiger.
I've seen all these Goofy cartoons more recently, ever since Nostalgia Critic did his little editorial on it.
Yes.
So I'm more refreshed on these videos.
No,
But yeah, I do love the animation of all these sort of old Goofy cartoons.
Yes, I don't want to brag, but I have known how good these cartoons were as a really poignant and even sometimes terrifying commentary of human behavior, long before the nostalgia critic pointed that out.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that other people will have the chance to notice that now that a big internet personality noticed it and remembered it for everyone else, because he's the nostalgia critic, so he remembers it.
Yeah.
Except,
You don't have to.
Except when he does modern stuff that doesn't kind of... Anyway, enough about that.
He's amplifying his horizons, I
Yeah.
guess.
So yeah, I was going to say that, but I actually remember seeing those Goofy cartoons before even watching that video, so I didn't bother watching it because why would I bother watching a video of something I know? When was that done exactly? In what era was it done again?
Okay, like I said, the Jack Kinney Goofy cartoons are in between 1945 and I want to say 1953, more or less. It's like mid-40s to early 50s. They are the best Goofy cartoons, unequivocally.
Yeah. It's just when you were talking about shortcuts, for some reason, anytime I think of shortcuts and animation reusing and choppiness, I can only think of the Popeye from the 60s animation.
But like I said, it's not the animation, the animated part itself that's cheap and recycled. It rarely is in those cartoons. It's the audio. For example, I was bringing up the Tiger Trouble episode, which is one of the funnier, really. That complete nonsense tiger chasing sequence in the climax.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Very colorful, animated, lots of movement and well-timed comedic gags and physical humor and all that. Except when you notice, the audio tends to repeat itself, sometimes even twice in the course of one episode. For example, there is this one moment in which Goofy and Dolores, the elephant, are taking a break from hunting the tiger. So Goofy descends the impromptu staircase to set up his picnic basket, because of course he has one, and when he climbs down, he makes a piano sound. As it goes down, which is a classic.
Yeah.
But then you have that same sound bite repeated when the tiger does a wrestling move and runs towards the captured Goofy. This time to match up with his footing, so to speak.
Yeah.
And also voice clips I mentioned. There is a very specific voice that's used in the beginning of the cartoon when Dolores pretty much insists that Goofy has to go hunt the tiger because otherwise the episode cannot start. And Goofy says, "Oh, not me." But then you hear the same identical phrase, and it's the same identical soundbite, in fact, at the beginning of the episode Home Made Home, which is also a Jack Kinney episode. And to give you context, it's the episode in which Goofy is building his own house.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So they did not spare expenses when it comes to character animations. They would spare all of the expenses when it came to voice acting and quality audio as an excuse not to pay voice actors.
Well, yeah, they had to cut corners in some places.
You know, Disney is well known not to have been a good boss to his employees, even though nobody likes to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure some of us, of the avid Disney fans, know of some of the old wives' tales of how he treated certain individuals.
Yep.
Yes, well.
Especially with the Mickey Minnie. Sorry, I had something in my throat there.
Oh, that happened back in the 60s. I'm talking about even before that, like during the animator strike, which happened around the time Dumbo was being made.
Oh, that one. That one
Yes,
too, yeah.
That one.
Well, I am talking about history in general when it comes to it, so... Actually, I want to know, why, boy, do you have any particular Goofy cartoons you remember?
Not really any particular ones. I do love a lot of the old Mickey Mouse cartoons. Like when I was growing up, I just had all these VHS of just a bunch of old Mickey Mouse, Goofy, and Donald Duck cartoons, and I just love rewatching all of them.
Yeah.
When I went to the 1950s Goofy cartoons, that was like probably mid high school. I just started to binge all the Goofy cartoons, and it's just like, yeah, this is the Goofy I really like.
Yes.
Because the whole Yahoo, wee, Goofy is all fun in the modern day and such. But when Goofy was able to do
timeless
all
horror.
sorts of emotions, is a lot more impactful, and there's a lot more variety.
What's
Yeah,
interesting
I
to
mean-
me is how often Goofy's design has been changed in many subtle ways in that particular period of time. He went from his classic look that it's still used to this very day to a more lean and less toothy look, which was there for the late 40s and the very early 50s, and then it switched back to a version of him that had that beaver tooth.
Yeah. I actually remember the first time I ever checked out the origins of Goofy, the first time I ever saw him. He was in the audience laughing about something. This was back in the black and white cartoons, and
Yes.
I was quite surprised to see how different he was when the first appearance, because he had like this little stubble on his chin.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yes, the recent incarnation of Goofy in the Paul Ruddish's Mickey Mouse cartoons from 2013 onwards recaptured the original essence of Goofy's character design back in the day. In fact, the entire show is an homage and also a grotesque parody of the early 1930s character designs, which I appreciate.
Oh yeah, I can definitely appreciate such things like that as well. Tell me, Madhog, this director who did all the... What was his name again?
Jack Kinney.
Jack Kinney. Was there a second cartoon that basically dealt with cars directed by him? Or was it only that one, Motormania?
Oh, you're referring to that one episode that eventually ends up with everybody using, how do you call those springing devices?
Springing devices?
The one you use to jump?
Oh, pogo sticks?
Yes! I think you're referring to that episode that ended up with everybody using pogo sticks, because apparently the commentary in that regard was that motor cars were not sustainable anymore. Pogo sticks were just so much more convenient. I actually don't know if that one was directed by Kinney, but it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, here's a brief rundown of episodes of Goofy directed by Mr. Kinney. The absolute best one of all, Hockey Homicide.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
That is so good.
That one. I actually saw that recently in Poland, but despite the fact I couldn't understand a single word that was said on the television, I still enjoyed it.
It's admirable how much packed a single 7 minutes episode can be with content, comedic content, and how each and every quickly delivered joke actually has the time to have a clever setup and a payoff and breathe to let you enjoy it. And then I look today at an average episode of freaking Mighty Magiswords and I cannot keep up with any of that drat. Anyway, Hockey Homicide is just the best, voted the best by me. It's just so good, so creative, so much stuff happening, so many gags, so much emphasis in my S's, and the climax is delightful. Hockey Homicide, again, Jack Kinney. He also directed the How to Play Football. That's actually from 1 year prior to this. And I know that because they actually reused footage from that episode in the climax of Hockey Homicide to drive a really funny joke home. It was spliced in the giant riot at the end of it.
Yeah.
Along with a freaking warplane coming to bombard everything. So good. So
nice.
Good. Okay, so Homemade Home. Oh, the one about sleeping problems,
Yeah. I think I've seen one bit of that.
Basically, the classic formula of a Goofy or an entire race of Goofies, because Goofy is mankind, Goofy is everyone and everything, Goofy is love, Goofy is life, etc. All of those episodes that had a voiceover and some sort of satirical commentary about society or human behavior, those are all directed by Jack Kinney. He has a very distinguishable comedic style that once you get a grasp on it, you will be seldom not to recognize it. Fathers are people. Teachers are people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great episodes. Oh, and then there is just the genuinely upsetting episode, No Smoking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh.
Okay,
I
I have to
one.
say, I just rewatched that episode today, and yes, it's funny, but it's mostly just terrifying. It is such a pessimistic portrayal of smoke addiction. It is so effective, and my gosh, is it timeless.
It's one of the cartoons that I remember the most fondly. I just found that one the most funny.
Go watch it now. Tell me if it doesn't just seem upsetting.
I'm definitely sure
It
it was
is so
upsetting. That's why it
upsetting.
just stayed in my mind so much.
Oh, it is so good. My gosh. So yes, Jack Kinney's Goofy is probably the best iteration of Goofy in that particular era. We won't have anything of that sort ever again because, those cartoons were meant mostly for an adult audience along with eventual children because they were being shown before a feature-length film. Adult humor, but colorful characters for the kids too. That is a mentality that unfortunately had a massive step back when the TV era of animation began. It took us a long while, but we're catching up.
Were there any others that you wanted to mention in title-wise?
I think these are the essential viewing.
There's one that I really liked as a kid. It was the one where Goofy was a teacher.
Yes, teachers are people.
Yeah, that one was great. I mostly have a personal connection with it because most of my family has been teachers. And just seeing all the crap that teachers have to go through played through Goofy was just very endearing to me.
Actually, now I think about it, I liked another episode from that, which I believe was covered by Nostalgia Critic, and it was the one where Goofy stays home to take care of the...
That's Fathers Are People.
Yeah, that was it.
That episode is a comedic tour de force, let me tell you.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh boy, that's some of the jokes in it is just so funny that you just have to see them in order to enjoy them.
Adultery jokes. Very well done.
Yeah. Very classy.
Yes.
And just done so quickly you don't really think about it. It just happens immediately. It's like, oh.
What a lovely fella. Affectionate.
Yeah.
And just built up to him expecting a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great jokes, great setups, great payoff. So delightful.
Indeed.
I must admit, though, the first time I was ever introduced to Goofy properly in my childhood, though, was when I watched Goofy, Donald, and Mickey go to the beach.
Yeah.
I forgot which era that came from, but I've only seen...
It's most likely the 30s.
I had this VHS tape, which had a collection of cartoons, and that was one of them. And the other one was where Mickey was... trying to do the yard for Minnie, so then he could get some cake.
Some cake, eh?
Yeah. Before even Mario even started.
Oh, yes. Oh, speaking of Marios, if you go back watching, again, the episode Tiger Trouble, I keep coming back to this episode, but it's really good. There is this moment at the very beginning again in which he and Dolores are traveling, and Goofy gets to jump out of a few tree branches like Rayman would. I have to say, in spite of my previous complaint about reused audio clips, I think that episode has the best soundtrack. It has the most creative and inventive soundtrack. For example, freaking Dolores sniffing the traces of the tiger, it's basically its own piece of music. It goes...
It was very creative back then. They just used sound effects with the music to basically make the atmosphere fulfilling.
And I really like the chaotic, jazzy music that we get when Goofy is trying to escape from the tiger that keeps just ramming in him inside the cave. Oh, and there is this very little gracious detail that you can see in front of the tiger's cave. You see a fur carpet made of clothing of a previous hunter the tiger ate. That is so clever.
Yeah, it's amusing.
Yeah.
But the only time I remember seeing anything involving music being used to, well, where the animation matches up with music was when Disney and even Merry Melodies cartoons used to just animate around the music.
Dance of the Skeleton.
Oh, yeah, that
Oh.
one.
Like being
It's just-
spooky, scary skeletons.
I guess
And,
it derives from that.
Yeah, and it's just that I also remember Disney doing that sort of thing as well with certain cartoons. Well, with
You know,
certain shorts they
okay,
made.
That episode was directed by Ab Iwerks, longtime Disney's friend, and
Yeah.
the co-creator of Mickey Mouse and Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. In fact, the amount of information I have about the studio animation scenes of the era is enough to fill an entire lecture. And I have had actual lectures on the subject.
Yeah.
So did they also lecture you on why Mickey was given gloves?
No, you completely misunderstand me. I was the one giving the lectures.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just thought that you meant you learned it from somebody from how you were talking.
No, this is all pretty much self-taught. They don't teach you this in cinema school. They tend to talk about very generally about the history of Hollywood, but they don't focus about very specific details such as individual big-time studio companies having either their own built-in animation studios or having contracted a studio that then became actually propriety of the bigger studio itself.
Right.
Such was the
Yeah.
fate of the Fleischer Brothers studios.
Ah.
The famous Warner Bros. Termite Terrace, that was a studio that was created within the confines of the actual company.
Yeah.
In fact, the only exception to the rule of either having a built-in studio or a studio that's been contracted and then repossessed was Disney himself, who started off as a small-time animation studios that became incredibly successful, and then it became itself a massive company.
Right.
It just makes me laugh, the idea that at some point Disney and friends and colleagues were the underdogs of the animation industry.
Well, yeah, everyone has to start somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Disney, as we know him, really started with a betrayal when the producer he was working under, when he worked along with Iwerks for Universal, pretty much screwed them and took the character of Oswald from under their nose, fired them, so they essentially had to create Mickey Mouse to rebuild their business. If they would have never been fired, and Oswald would have never been stolen from them, Mickey Mouse would have never existed, and the history of animation as we know it would have been so much different.
Indeed.
Probably much, much worse.
Yeah.
Because taking out Disney would definitely
My gosh, can you imagine the first feature-length animation? The first feature-length animated film being Gulliver's Travels? It's the death! It's the kiss of death for the entire industry. My gosh!
But still, at the time, people would
guys,
thought that was amazing stuff.
and you actually sat down to watch Fleischer Brothers' Gulliver's Travels from start to finish? It's an hour long, but it feels like it's 50 of them.
Yeah.
They had no idea how to tell a story because they wasted all the screen time showing off the comic relief characters.
Yeah.
Oh, and then there is the rotoscoping. The Fleischer are famous for creating the technology and the technique of rotoscoping, which motion capture today is a direct descendant, yes.
Yeah, it's just imagining that without Disney films, we wouldn't have people being inspired by said films, so those films would not exist without Disney.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
Disney is an important figure for allowing certain talents to flourish, but let's make no mistake about this. He was never an artist. He was a
No.
businessman. He was the
Yeah.
car salesman of the duo Disney iWorks. iWorks was the artist. He
Yeah.
drew Mickey Mouse for the very first time, in fact.
Yes.
But
I
Disney
know
was good in the marketing department, and this is pretty much emblematic of what it is, the perennial relationship between art and business. They need each other in order to make
Flourish.
something culturally relevant and timeless.
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot wait for an artist to die before his art becomes relevant. That's just counterproductive. Thankfully, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Why? Was it a usual thing in Italy? That sort
Oh,
of thing.
it was a usual thing back in the day. An artist starves literally for his art because he's an artist, you see. And then when he dies, his products actually matter because he's dead.
Yeah.
So that means
It's
it's priceless.
It's the art that survives the artist. How poetic is that? It's the literal death of the author. Oh my gosh, I waited so long to say this joke. Oh, most will not get it because they don't know what the death of the author really is conceptually. The right people will get that. Well,
Yeah.
isn't this podcast intellectually stimulating or what?
It is.
For better and for worse.
Goocy, what do you have to say about your cousin Goofy? Hoo. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes, he's so suave and sleek, you guys.
Yeah, Goosy's always fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so fine, he blows my mind.
Hey, Goosey. Hey, Goosey.
Hey, Goosey.
Hey, Goosey!
And Goosey is. And
Oh, wait,
Goosey
that's not
is all
Goofy. That's Mickey. That's Mickey in that song.
And Goosey is the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
You know the famous Mickey Mouse song, dun 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 dun, you know? That
Yes,
one? It
I
was
think that was at the
used.
VHS I have.
It was used in the ending scene of Full Metal Jacket.
I had no idea because I never watched Full Metal Jacket.
It's
Yeah,
a
me
great
neither.
watch. Most people will only remember the first part of the film, the one with the crazy sergeant. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it.
Which
Yeah.
was funny at first and then it stopped being funny. The film picks up when they go to war. And you have such sequences as the bird is the word sequence, which in my view is the best scene or sequence in the entire film.
I think
It's
that's been
really
ruined by
good.
Family Guy pretty thoroughly, though.
No, not even Family Guy can ruin a scene of that magnitude. That's how good it is.
To be honest, I'm on the personal impression that nothing can ruin anything for me. You know, as long people don't make out that, oh, this ruins the thing I enjoyed, sort of thing.
Yes, that is a great point to have, Devar.
Indeed.
And on that note, Roman Reigns.
Oh god.
Roman Reigns.
Okay, no, that is a wrestling talk. We might have that after we're done with this, because unless you are in the know, this will be very confusing to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I am not in the know.
Yeah.
I have some controversial things to say about this particular individual that will no doubt get me a lot of heat if, the right/wrong people find a hold to this podcast. But before any of that,
Yeah.
Well, that'll be good for some YouTube views, though.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what they say on video creating. If you're pissing people off, then you're doing something right.
Exactly.
Again, in that sense, WWE is doing the best of jobs.
Let's not go crazy, though.
Yeah, that's not good.
I want to go crazy because they are doing something right by pretending to do something wrong. And I see their game now. But anyway,
We'll talk about that later.
yes,
but
we'll
first
talk about
things
that
first.
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about cartoons, and then Goocy kind of dropped in with his skirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goosey, could you sit over there, please? That's a good man.
Yeah.
woman.
He's sitting up very slowly and sensually. Yeah.
You can tell when Madhog enjoys something too much.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Right, so, hey, why boy, I noticed you finally managed to watch Rock Dog.
Yep, me and Nero just watched it.
Yeah, I did not, in fact, manage to watch Rock Dog. I instead ended up watching Paprika by Satoshi Kon, which I had not yet seen before. That was an essential viewing, I guess. Although I'd say that, much like most of his work, I think it's more interesting, fascinating, and visually stunning that it is actually, good.
Yeah.
It's not bad, it's really good, but when your story has about 30, 50 freaking thousand climaxes,
Yeah.
and you lose yourself in whatever sort of coherent narrative you were trying to tell, and when you get down to it, the theme that you're going for is essentially that you love cinema and the art of filmmaking, and this film is all an elaborate allegory for your love of the art form, then we might have some problem. But other than that, Paprika is really good, and honestly, that freaking climax, the real one, it is so absolutely ridiculous. It is the most insane yet amazing thing, and what makes it really good is the fantastic reaction of those two guys as they witness what I can only call the dream baby saving the day. And their reaction was perfect and spot on, and that really makes the scene excellent. Otherwise, it would be just self-titillating symbolic nonsense. You've got to love Satoshi Kon for his masterful creativity, and he will be missed, no doubt about that.
Indeed. Well, Rock Dog was none of that because it was just crap.
Yeah, I had an impression. I mean, like I said to you before, I have no expectations from Chinese films, especially Chinese animated films, that want to be Chinese Kung Fu Panda, which is weird because Kung Fu Panda is based off Chinese culture, and it's especially nonsensical if you think they already did their own bootleg version of Kung Fu Panda with a rabbit, and this is getting so confusing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So what was wrong with Rock Dog then?
Okay, so this is the story of Crunch the Rock Dog, this awful
Crunch.
dog made of stone that turns ponies into stone. But then they find his real heart, and he turns into a real puppy. And that is legitimately the best episode of G1 My Little Pony. I'm not even joking.
Well, that is not the story to Rock Dog at all. Basically, a little Tibetan monk dog wants to learn how to rock and roll, so he goes to the big city and such to learn from this British rock star how to rock and roll. And then Kung Fu Panda just comes in and basically ruins all the music angle of it. Like, it's basically like if you took the movie Sing and smashed it together with Kung Fu Panda. Kung Fu Panda is just trying to become the main focus of it, but it can't, because it's much more interesting as a music piece. But there's not even one musical number in the whole thing until the very end.
Let me guess, they saved the world with the power of rock.
Yeah, kind of. He just basically plays his guitar until he releases a blue energy.
Listen, I am yet to see a better save the world with the power of music ending than Equestria Girls Rainbow Rocks. I'm not even joking. That was very, very good for what it was.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
Have you seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World, right?
Yeah.
You know that moment of the Battle of the Bands in which they summon giant King Kong-like monster fighting giant King
Ghidorah.
Yeah, Dragon
Ghidorah
Thing.
monster with the power of music?
Mhm.
It's the same. In Rainbow Rocks, they summon a gigantic winged unicorn that blasts off the bad guys.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah.
it. It's so corny. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
So, Rock Dog.
In the end, it's a little bit of a disappointing watch for me because it's not the movie that it was in the trailer because it wanted to be Kung Fu Panda instead at the end. If it stayed a musical, then it would have been a lot better and a lot more fun.
Well, that depends if the music is any good.
I thought the music was serviceable for what it was.
I mean, if
the
they're
musical
not...
number at the end, I've been re-listening to over and over again on YouTube for so many times now.
Must have been good then.
Yeah.
It cannot be as memorable as The Rock singing a surprisingly catchy song in Moana.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not as catchy as that, but I thought it was a good beat to it. I just take from it's like it's singing animals, and then you smash together with Kung Fu Panda, and that's how you get Rock Dog.
Yeah, Rock Dog.
A better comparison would be Cats Don't Dance, because you have the bright-eyed dreamer as the main character.
Ah, Cats Don't Dance, the most influential, non-influential film ever.
Exactly.
Well, a lot of people seem to remember it. Just it doesn't.
You know,
It just doesn't seem to do well.
Yeah, it's a cult classic for a
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
It definitely has a lot of cool aspects to it that makes it memorable. Rock Dog will just disappear after this year, definitely.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure Rock Dog doesn't have appealing character designs like Sing does.
well, I've
I don't-
seen a few images. The character design seems fine from what I've
Yeah,
seen.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty okay. Me and Nero were watching it. We're just like, oh, yeah, this is actually serviceable for what it could be.
But what about the animation quality? Because, like I said, Chinese animated films, I do not have a good experience with those. How's the animation?
Honestly, it's pretty good quality. Like, it's definitely theatrical quality, I could feel. Like it wasn't like The Legend of the Kung Fu Rabbit, where it was definitely DVD budget quality. Like, it was clear, the audio was fine. Like, the backgrounds were very beautiful, actually. It was just a nice-looking movie. Not the most beautiful, obviously.
Well,
Okay,
I would
so
imagine...
the problem with Chinese filmmaking is that they had to push down your throat the fact that Chinese culture is superior.
Well, they
Even
don't really
though
have that here.
Yeah, we do have that here, but we are learning to be a bit more nuanced in that regard unless our name is Michael Bay. But China is like a bootlegged version of Hollywood, about 10 years or so behind current Hollywood.
Yeah, there's not any bigger issues in life. You just gotta see a movie, then you'll be happy. That's not a sad, pathetic life.
Well,
I
that's,
just made a lot of people angry with that.
yeah, yeah, why boy, I know you were being self-deprecating, so I won't judge you for that.
What?
No, I see my boy's plan now. He wants to cause controversy on this podcast so we get more views.
If I wanted more views, why would I do it on your channel?
Oh wow, that's very uncalled for and not very nice.
I'm sorry. I would like to just cause some controversy and give you more views then. Let me think. PS4 is better than Xbox. There, perfect.
What the hell happened to you? Who are you and what have you done with Y-Boy?
I'm Who Boy now. Who
Boy?
You?
Who?
Yes.
Who Boy?
Yes, Who Boy. I'm his evil twin. It causes controversy. Disney.
But
Madhog, I don't like this movie. Can we switch?
But why?
Pixar is overrated.
But why, Who Boy? Why, boy?
Because controversy is best.
It's best prophecy.
Yeah.
But when, boy?
No, I already killed Wen Boy.
Okay, I don't know how we've got into this. At some point, somebody must have lost their sanity.
I did, actually.
I apologize. I blame Y-Boy. This is the last time you sit beside Christopher Walken. Oh, hello.
Christopher Walken, are you drowning? It sounds like it.
Ah,
He's drowning in his own
Why?
alcoholic
my
beverages.
drowning needs more cowbell.
Oh no, drowning in the cowbell. No.
Alcoholic cowbell.
Okay, I demand to regain control of this podcast. This has gone on long enough. First, Who Boy being a jerk.
And
Hey,
now
I was doing
Christopher
something
Walken.
nice giving you that controversy. Now you get all the views.
Not really, you just made me sad.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I forgive you.
Yay.
Hey, friendship wins.
Controversy also wins.
Controversy is the best friendship. Let me think now. Something else to say other than goodbye.
Goodbye and thanks for all the fish. Actually, Madhog, and I, and the VAR. Yeah, that's totally what I wanted to say. I'm not flapping or anything. Me and the VAR, and maybe even Goocy, we wanted to talk a bit about wrestling. Well, I wanted to, and I'm assuming the VAR would be up for it, because he's the VAR.
Yes, I'm up for it.
So, why boy, if you want to go, go away, that's the exit over there.
Aww,
That's so perfect.
Don't say it like that.
You don't tell someone to go away.
Yeah.
Or to talk to you. Xbox is better than PS4. Now you have both those group
Okay.
fighting each other.
Okay, now you're saying something that's just factually wrong.
Yeah, just sorry about this, white boy.
I'm just joking.
Is better than Xbox and PS4. There you go.
That's also factually wrong.
Nintendo Switch kill everything.
Okay, so I'll be brief on this one because I don't want to alienate too much our lovely co-host, the Y-Boy. I'll say this about Roman Reigns and his recent win against The Undertaker in the main event of WrestleMania 33. Yes, 33. 32 was last year. This is 33. Too many WrestleManias. So, okay. I like it.
Good.
I actually liked WrestleMania 33 very much. Overall, it was a great show, with only a couple of duds, but it was a really good show. But the best part came in the opening segment of Raw the following night, when Roman Reigns stood in the middle of the audience, and for 15 straight minutes, he just stood there, soak it in smugly, at all the ferocious booing and hatred and chants, until he just picked up the microphone and said, "This is my yard now." And it was so good. Legitimately good television. The best part is that he's not even turning heel. He's still Roman Reigns. But now he's even more hated than he was before, and he will never recover from that. And in a way, in a weird backwards but also brilliant way, this works. It's no longer a case of WWE being out of touch and wanting to push Roman as the top babyface in the traditional sense. At this point in time, it has become obvious to me, at least, that they're doing something that has never been done before. They are pushing Roman to be a purposely despised babyface. And that makes him the best heel that this company has. Because the nuclear heat is so delicious.
In other words, they basically decided to...
They are getting their cake and eating it too, but in the most efficient way possible.
So they're using the controversy of Roman Reigns to push this character.
To be honest, I'm actually starting to buy into the hype of Roman Reigns, because the way he reacts to the hostile audience, the subtle nuances of his facial expressions and body language, or the psychology he brings to the table when he defeated The Undertaker in that memorable final few minutes of the match. This makes for a character that has essentially ascended beyond the classic dynamic of good guy versus bad guy. It's like the company is in a way acknowledging the fact that Roman will never be properly accepted by the fans, but they are also realizing that if they turn him heel completely and utterly, fans might actually start to like him, and that would lose the potential for a great, truly despised heel character. So what they're doing is that they are still booking him, from what I've seen. They might change that in future episodes, I still don't know. But at this very point in time, he is still Roman Reigns. He has not changed his quote-unquote alignment, but he is the most effective heel because of that reason. And they are using the smarkiness and the know-how of the fans who just want to cheer for whoever they want, regardless if they are good or bad guys. They are using this knowledge against them to great effect. And you just need to go and watch those 15 minutes that begin the Raw show after Mania. It's the best Raw opener of the past 10 years. It is so good. It's a heel babyface.
They're using the powers of the fans to make the face heel.
And the fact that he defeated The Undertaker and retired him, and he still did not turn heel properly to do so. Nuclear massive hit. The first ever heel babyface. The killer of wrestling alignments. It's genius. I am starting to be really sold on this whole hype for Mr. Roman Reigns for the first time ever. And I definitely now, more than anything else, I want to see Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Ooh! I'm just picturing the crowd participation in that match. Instant classic.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, that's all I wanted to say about that. So anyway, enough with the wrestling talk. Why boy, are you still there?
Yep, right here.
He just zoned out into his happy place. Which is most likely going to be cartoon scenery stylized like 1930s animation.
Yes, with every character either playing the banjo or bouncing up and down rhythmically.
Yeah, basically 1930s Canada, with just bouncing up and down beavers.
Only with less racist caricatures.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, well, you know,
that's a time capsule of history at the time.
It is indeed. It's a testament of how far we've come as a society, or at least how far we should have come as a society, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
guess this makes for a nice little podcast to listen to. So join us next time when Nero Angelus, Y-Boy's life companion, I'm not quite sure of how the relationship is.
Just my partner in Toon Green.
Okay, your partner in crime, which is also, I've been told, is also the world-leading expert on Samurai Jack. So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
And together with him and Y-Boy and of course Devar, we will discuss more of Samurai Jack, because we can never have enough of discussing about Samurai Jack, because it is so good, you guys! In case you haven't noticed. It is so good!
It is.
Hey, Goocy, what do you think of Samurai Jack? Oh, yeah. He likes it.
He does.
He likes everything, that man.
Well, he doesn't like Donald Trump.
That's a like for everybody else.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been the Team Yume podcast, coming to you in your local city to kill you all. Yay!
Coming to your local neighborhood to annoy you and your cats.
Bringing you to Suplex City. All
Leave
night
my
long,
cats
baby.
alone.
Wait, I thought you have dogs, not cats.
I have a cat too.
What, so you want your dog to be annoyed, but not your
Look,
cat?
why boy, I hate your entire animal kingdom, starting from that blasted dog that ruins recordings.
Well, he's also adorable, so, yeah.
I still have a bone to pick with him from that time we played Puzzle Agent.
Yeah. You have any
Anyway.
one-stopper?
Anyway, this has been Madhog Thy Master.
And I've been Devar Akbaron.
And I've been Y-Boy.
And I've been Goocy. See you next time, folks.
Take care,
I
everybody.
regret nothing.
Yes, he regrets nothing, and I wish you all to take good care of yourselves and be good to each other.
Romance sucks.